clear, I am Christian and I do believe the Bible, and I can respect the fact that you believe it is wrong, and like that's not my place to convert you. Um, so I do believe that humans did form from Adam and Eve, and it is a fair assumption to make that I do believe that because I was raised in a Christian household and that's what I was taught to believe. And while while you do support the Big Bang, it ultimately comes down to what people find more plausible and what their brains are able to comprehend. Now, I am in no means saying like you're not able to comprehend it. Like that's not what I'm trying to get at all. I feel, like it all comes down to what someone can comprehend. And, I find it more plausible for me to believe in a creation by a God versus uh the Big Bang. I know you've probably heard the argument a lot, like nothing can come from nothing. And I do kind of stand by that, but like I'm also not going to ridicule your thought on that. That's just my personal thought on it. But yeah, I was gonna say, I know you probably get a lot of people on here that the first thing they do is try to, you know, come at you with hate and make fun of what your belief is. But I that is not my place to change that. So um, I think it just comes
No,
down to a
those
matter of
cowards mostly
respecting each
live
other's
in the
opinions.
comments section or in the chat only, for the most part.
That is very true.
Although there are some intolerable assholes that come up here every now and then. Um, right. So, um, you kind of said a lot. I don't know which thing specifically you
Yeah,
want
I
to talk
did. I'm
about,
sorry
but
about
I
that. It
guess
was a mouthful.
I'm a little bit. What really tripped me up is like, I don't understand on what grounds it's more reasonable to believe that some omni being magically created things versus it kind of sounds like you were saying the alternative is to believe that the universe came from nothing and that's a summary of the Big Bang. That's not the Big Bang. The Big Bang just tells us what we know about the universe, um,
Okay.
not like where it came from or anything. But like the idea of
Okay.
Earth form, like solar systems forming that way, I think there's extraordinarily good scientific evidence to back that up. We can see solar systems forming in other parts of the galaxy, for example.
Right. Right. And I would first like to say, I don't not believe in science, if that makes sense. I believe there are the ideas of evolution. Like in today's society, there are currently animals evolving, and our opinions just do differ on the the original origin of it. And I while I can respect that, you believe in the Big Bang, from what I've grown up believing, I've always had the mentality of, a creation a creation like must require a creator. And that I can understand if that's not something you believe. And at that point it
Right.
just
So
comes to a
let's
difference of opinions.
before we like say a bunch of things, let's just stop right there.
Sorry,
I don't
sorry.
think we have any evidence of anything ever being created.
Okay.
So, I mean, when we say creation requires a creator, okay, but what has ever been created?
So based on our beliefs, we believe that God created the earth and the heavens and everything like that. And
Sure.
like from my beliefs, I believe that if there were to be a Big Bang, which I personally don't feel that's right, I would believe that God, the one I believe in, would have to be the one to set that into motion. Now, obviously, I believe that God created the first man and woman, but for me personally, the way I comprehend things is I find it more plausible in my own conscious of balance. I believe that it's more
Sure.
feasible for me to believe that there was an omnipotent being to originally create the earth. And I'm not saying you're
Okay.
not capable of believing that, but for you, having the Big Bang is what is feasible to you. And I think that is always going to be a difference among people. You can't change what someone makes them feel comfortable at most. And I think it's just gonna it ultimately has to be a agree to disagree type thing, and just a matter of
Okay.
respecting what people.
Okay. So, do you like think the actual entire universe is only a few thousand years old?
Yes, I do. In my opinion,
Okay.
yes.
So, we can see billions of light years. So, you need to tell me
Mhm.
how it's reasonable to believe that despite that, uh, that fact, the universe is still only a few thousand years old.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a rebuttal for that. I just I mean I listen. I didn't come on here to spread hate or anything. I just kind of wanted to voice my
Yeah, I
opinion on
know.
it. Yeah, yeah. Um, so I mean, while I can't justify that, I believe that the Earth was created when I like according to our faith when God created it. I know that's not really much of a justification for what you had just said, but it just
But
comes down to
but
that belief.
why believe that?
Because I personally feel, because I believe it, because that's what makes sense to me, and that's what makes me feel more at peace. The goal of life is to have that mind of peace in who you are and what you believe. And while they may prove like the billions of years, I achieve more of a peace believing in a God rather than the earth forming through a big bang. That's
Sure.
just how
I'm
my
just
brain achieves
yeah,
a
I
balance.
don't see how that's an avenue to figure out what's true and what's not. Because you said it makes more sense to you that God did things in the way you think God did them. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know how far we're going to get with any of this, but I feel like I don't think there's anything you could point to that really backs it up absent the words itself. It's like the deal with the Big Bang. It's not like some anarcho-communist radical whatevers were sitting around 100 years ago and we're like, God, I fucking hate Christianity. Let's come up with an idea that says screw Christianity and hail whatever. Hail Spanky, the one true God. No, whatever. No, what they did was by doing science, we came up with this explanation, this model about what our universe does and how it has changed over time and evolved and whatever. And I've never met anybody that doesn't think that science is objectively very, very good at describing true facts about nature. And when we do that, that's where we land. And so it is in direct contention with your interpretation of what the words say. Like, you probably think you have a very literalist interpretation of what it says, but there are other people that say, like, well, no, like, I know it says these words, but it literally means something else because they weren't actually trying to talk about the creation of the entire universe or whatever. That's a weird can of worms to open or whatever. But this isn't really a question, I guess. So I'm not really. You can just tell me what you think.
Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know how to come back from that. Um, you have your certain beliefs and I have mine, and it's obviously something very hard to change from one person to the other. I just wanted to come on here and share my thoughts with it. Listen, I wish you all the best. I don't really have anything else that I can put on top of that other than my blind faith to it. But yeah, I wish you all the best, and thank you for having me in to talk about things.
You're welcome.